What's up? My name is Evan Turner. I'm the co-owner and co-founder of 533, and today we're going to be unboxing and building 533's newest product, the Footy. Before we get into the build, I just want to give a quick overview of what the Footy is and what it was intended for. As you can see in this form, it is a high-level professional grade filming drone. This can be used on any set and you know it'll perform. It was designed and engineered by Armando, who is also the co-owner of 533, and it produced some of the cleanest black box logs we've seen from any drone ever, and I'll post those up here. But in other words, it's also a very versatile frame. You could flip the frame over, put your camera up here and put your motors on top, and now you have a ultra durable, Tiny Trainer-esque 5-inch drone that you can practice racing with. So I think it's super cool that this frame is so incredibly versatile. You can go practice with your friends on the weekends and then flip it over, and on the weekdays, go film whatever shoots you need to. And I think it's so cool that you can have essentially two different drones in one, and I'm super excited to see all the cool places that the Footy ends up. Without further ado, we're gonna hop right into the build. We're going to be following the provided build guide on our website to a T. It is very detailed, and it should get anyone through the build process of this frame. But I figure some people are more visual than others and want to hear maybe me ramble on about random things, but whether you like it or not, you're gonna hear it. So we're gonna open this thing up and follow this build guide together and get this thing built. Okay, so everything you're going to get in the package is your injection molded canopy by HQ, your camera mount, antenna mount, and then your HD GoPro mount of choice. So whether that's a couch mount or a hero mount or a prong mount, you can order it and we will send it in our very high quality 3D printing direct to your door with your frame. The first step of the build guide says you're going to need your anti-wiggle plate, which is right here. And then you're going to need these two middle plates, but we're only going to be using one. These two look very similar, but basically we're going to separate them from the ones that have the press nuts in them, these little silver things, and the one that doesn't. So the first thing we need is the one that doesn't, anti-wiggle plate, and a 6mm countersunk screw. In the kit, you'll have your hardware, and you're going to have two different types of countersunk screws. You're going to have your longer ones and your shorter ones. These short ones are going to be the 6mm ones, and that is what we're going to use first to install this anti-wiggle plate. So we're going to crack one of those out of the bag. You'll need a 2mm driver for this. You're going to get your mid plate here, and you see there's countersunk holes on one side. You're going to go to the very center, drop in your little screw. Get our 2mm here. Now you're going to get your anti-wiggle plate. You're going to do press nut up. So the press nut will be facing up when looking like this. Here's the screw coming out. I'm going to put it on here like so. You don't have to worry about the orientation quite yet, but you just want to screw it on as like so. And you're going to see here that we have the short sides on these and then the long sides here. So you want the long side to be facing front to back and the short sides to be off to the side. So like I said, you don't have to get it squared up perfectly right now, but if you can just get it squared up the best you can tighten it down and move on to the next step. Next step, we're going to install all four arms. So you have your four arms here like this. We're going to crack each one of those open. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to get that same plate we just had, like here, and you're going to get your arms. Now you see the arms are different on each side. So you have the side where the press nut is mostly covered like so, and the other side, the press nut is open. So you're going to get your middle plate like this, slide in your arm like so, and you want to be able to see that press nut because we're going to put one of these 6mm countersunk screws in here, and you essentially want that press nut to be pulled deeper into the arm. So we're going to get, again, we have 4 of these left, these 6mm countersunk screws. Get them out. They're going to go in this next closest hole to the middle. So, like so. Put it in. Get your 2mm driver, and we're going to tighten this arm down. We're then going to repeat this process for the other 3 arms, but as you can see, it should look something like this. And after you got the 4th arm secured, you should have something that looks like this. I think this looks amazing. It is truly a feat of engineering. Armando did such a good job minimizing the size of this wiggle plate, but maximizing the effectiveness of it. As you can see, it adds an incredible amount of stiffness and also locks the arms together. Armando has taken this idea from the switchback and our other race frames and brought it into the freestyle market, making what I believe to be one of the greatest cinematic racing and freestyle frames the market has ever seen. So versatile and so cool to see this design brought in to the freestyle market. Moving on to step 3, and probably the most tedious step of this entire build, we're going to install the stack screws. So you're going to get your other mid plate that looks like this, the one that has the silver press nuts in them, and then you're going to get your 4 long countersunk screws, like so, and then you're also going to get your red nylock nuts. As you can see here, there are 3 different stack mounting, or I mean 4 if you count it. So you have your central 20 by 20 mounting, you have your forward 20 by 20 mounting, you have a 30 by 30 mount, and in the back you also have a 20 by 20 mount. Of course, in the back, that means you can have room for your DJI air unit. It will fit a full air unit as well as a Vista. You can fit a 30 by 30 stack, and then you can fit a 20 by 20 stack in either of the locations. I believe if you do use the full-size air unit, you will need to mount in the forward 20 by 20 mount, which just sets that stack a little bit further forward to leave room for that big air unit. Also, this will fit the 1-watt SharkBite VTX that will be coming out very soon, or maybe even it's already out at the time of you seeing this video. So you have so much versatility with this plate, but you just have to pick where you want your stack screws to go. So I think for this one, I'm gonna put the stack screws in the front, and maybe I'll use an air unit and have a DJI Footy. So I'm gonna do these front 2, and then of course, as you can see in this diagram right here, I would go pretty much skip a hole and go back. And then, I mean, simple as that. Get your stack screws in, and then you get your provided nylock nuts. You do have 1 extra, which is nice. You're gonna screw those down. I'd recommend you kind of toss it on there, and then either use some sort of driver or just even pliers on the nylock nut, and then just tighten down all 4 of them. And I'll be back in a couple seconds after I put all these on, and we'll go on to the next step. Got my stack screws mounted. As you can see, I use the frontermost stack option. I'm not sure if that's exactly how you say it, but yes, I went with 20 by 20 stack mounting option and the one furthest forward to leave plenty of room for any air unit or HT system in the back. Step 4 is you get your 2 plates. So we've kind of throughout the build made 2 different plates. You have this one, which has the arms and the anti-wiggle plate on it, and this one, which has your stack screws. So what you're going to do is you're going to get your stack screws facing up. You're going to get to where you can see the arms up, where there's like a flat plate on the bottom. You're just going to put these right on top of each other, like so. And then what you're going to do is you're going to mount your arms on the outer ring. So you're going to get your longer, like I'd say the middle length countersunk screws like this. You should have, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these. Open that. And then what you're going to do is very simply go on the back here and drop your screws in again. So you have this outer ring, these outer 4. Drop your screws in. And then what this will do is this will connect these 2 plates, and you'll start to look a lot more like a normal drone frame, I would say. So get this screwed in like so. So that's the first one down. We're gonna do 3 more of those, and then you'll have a plate that looks something like this. Let's keep going. Got all 4 arms fully secured. You should have a super stiff and sturdy body. The crazy thing is we're not even done building yet, so it's only going to get stronger. We're going to move on to step 5, which is mounting this rear machined aluminum piece. So it'll look something like this. Sorry, my fingers probably scribbled it up, like this. You will see there's a notch in it right there. As the build guide says, you're going to get the notch, okay? You have your press nuts here, and you're going to take it, and the notch will go towards the press nuts. So it'll kind of go in the back there. And then what you're going to do is get those two arm screws you had left over, the 10mm countersunk screws, and you're just going to drop those in. So you see the press nut here, and then you have the countersunk side over here. So you're going to go on the countersunk side using these 10mm countersunk screws. We'll go ahead and drop both of them in there. Voila. Tighten those down to the press nut. There's one, and there's two. And what this will do is give us the ability to mount our roll cage to the frame, which is really nice. The machined aluminum pieces turned out beautifully. So cool to see those implemented into a frame like this, making it feel even more premium. So, got both those screws mounted. Again, you have your press nuts here, countersunk screws here, and it's gonna be hard to see, but the notch is facing those press nuts. So let's go on to step 6. Moving on to step 6, we're going to attach this front machined aluminum piece. As you can see, it does have this rectangular side, and then it has this other side that's more concaved in. You're going to take the rectangular side, and we're going to insert that into the frame. You will see that there is like two sides of this piece, where this side is kind of cut out, milled out, and then this side is completely flat. It doesn't matter which side goes up or down, but again, you're going to take this rectangular piece, put it in the front like so. You're just going to push it all the way in until you see these screws align, so it should be a very nice fit, but you'll see those screws align right there. Then you're going to get these, you probably thought it was odd, but there were two little button head screws like this that were an odd length. So you're going to get those two screws, open those, and that is what this is used for. So you flip the frame over, as you can see again, there's press nuts on one side. On the other side, you have nothing. So you're going to put those, drop those in like so, and then tighten down the front of the frame, and that should complete the use of your machined aluminum pieces, or at least complete the installation, I'm sorry. So get both of these screwed in all the way, tighten them down. Now step 6 is completed, and you now have your front aluminum bracket installed. Moving on to step 7, now it's time to start installing your vertical roll cage. So we're going to crack this out of the package. There should be 2 of these vertical plates. Put that there. So, as you can see, there's 2 of them. They should be exactly identical. But the next thing you're gonna need are these 6mm button head screws. So you're gonna see you have a lot of these and not as many of these. So these are your motor screws. So the motor screws are provided. Thank you, Joshua Bardwell, for telling us we need to do this. But no, we listened, and you guys will get motor screws provided with the frame. So you can set those aside, and we won't need those, of course, until you're putting on motors. But you do have these 6mm button head screws, and we're going to use those to install this vertical roll cage. So what you're going to do, one thing you'll notice is that the sides of this front aluminum piece and back aluminum piece are threaded, and that is how we're going to install it. So you'll get your cage like this. You're going to let the bottom part of the cage, of course, cover the stack. That's what you intend to cover, and it'll just fit in like so. And there's going to be, I'll show you on this side, there's going to be a screw here, and then a screw that goes right here on the back. So we'll get this, do the bottom screw first, thread it into the side here. Okay, there's one done. And then you'll do your top one. See if I can find that, there you go. And then finally, you'll do the back one that goes again into that back aluminum piece. Voila. And then you're going to do that to the other side, and you're not going to attach any of the standoffs quite yet. So I'll show you how to do that in a second, but you're going to get your second plate, put it on so that it matches. Put those 3 screws on the other side, and we'll move on to installing the canopy as well as some of our mounts. Step 8, we are going to put our nice injection molded canopy on. So you will see that there are holes here and here that you will insert a standoff into. You will get these 4 blue standoffs. The standoff color might change. We like to do that from batch to batch just for fun, but We have blue ones for the time being. This is a super tight tolerance, and you can put it in with your fingers, but the way I like to do it is you get a screw. We have some of these 6mm ones left over at the time of this build. So we're gonna get a screw, we're gonna screw it all the way in to the standoff, like so. All right, and then we're gonna do the front one first, so the one that had these little like teeth kind of things at the front. Gonna push the standoff in, and then you're just gonna use your driver, and you can easily push and twist in at the same time and get the standoff fully seated. Make sure it's pretty even on both sides. Boom, nice, fully installed. And then you just gotta give it a quick crack. And then you can take your screw back out, and now you have a fully seated standoff. The back is a little bit more complicated, especially if you're using the SMA mount. So you will get this SMA mount like so. And as you can see here, it has a little standoff mount. And the way that's gonna work is you're going to install it like so. So you're gonna have the antenna will come out the back. So you're just gonna set it down like so. So the antenna's coming out the back of the canopy. Make sure that that standoff hole aligns. You can probably see me through there. And then we're pretty much gonna do the exact same thing on the back. Get your standoff, get that screw, screw it all the way in. Boom. Get it in the back here. And then screw it all the way in. Perfect fit. Crack it a little bit, unscrew it. And now you have your antenna mount here. You have your canopy fully seated with the standoffs. One thing to note is you're going to see these little knobs, I guess you could call them. What this is going to be for is for the Manaz / 533 LED kit. It's going to be so cool. I don't have one at the time, but I will do a video of one soon. But it'll snap on to these little mounts perfectly. And then you'll take your soldering iron like so, and then you're going to kind of melt these, which will mushroom the top. Again, this is fully Armando's idea, not mine. It'll mushroom the top, and that'll secure your LED kit. Super cool way of securing it. Don't have to use double-sided tape or anything of that nature. You just put it on, mushroom the top of these, and you'll have a fully installed RGB LED kit. But we're going to move on to installing this on the frame, and we'll worry about the LED kit in a future video. Step 9, we're going to install our canopy onto the frame. So you have your antenna mount already mounted, and one thing you are going to have to do is unscrew just one of these screws from the back aluminum piece, which allows us to kind of separate so that our antenna mount will fit in. This part is a little bit finicky, but you're going to just kind of pull that apart as you see, drop in your canopy and antenna mount, and what you're trying to do here is you're going to try and get your antenna mount to snap in. So you're just going to kind of wrap around these things. So you kind of sit there and play with it, but as you can see, I already got that side squished in. Just going to kind of squeeze it, and you will see here that antenna mount wraps around both sides. And what this does is actually provides a super sturdy place to mount your antenna. I know there's been some complaints with other frames where the antenna mount isn't very sturdy and actually causes a decrease in flight performance, because when you do a flip or a hard pull or whatever, your antenna will start moving, which will thus affect your flight controller and everything that's going on with the quad. So we decided we wanted to go with a really sturdy antenna mounting solution, and that's what we came up with. So after we have this on, we're going to reinstall that screw on the back aluminum piece, which will then tighten the whole thing back down. And then, since those standoffs are already installed in that canopy, we should be able to just toss our 4 screws in there. So you have a standoff here, which we installed, and then up front, as you can see, those teeth kind of wrap around the front, giving it that super cool look. And then, as you can see in this orientation, it has that racer look, which we'll talk about here in a second. So you're gonna get your other screw. We'll start with the front. 1. And then do the other side. 2. And then we're gonna do these 2 on the back, which again are the side that has your antenna mount. 3. And then the last one for this canopy mount is going to be this one back here. And voila, you now have your canopy mounted to the frame. Again, this is fully injection molded polycarbonate, super durable. It'll look great when this LED kit comes out, but it gives it, I just think, a professional look. When you're on set and you have a lot of pressure on you, the FPV drone typically, at least to this point, has not been the most professional looking thing. You know, maybe there's wires hanging out, or it looks like just two pieces of carbon screwed together with a bunch of screws, but this definitely gives a much more professional platform, I believe. And I think that this canopy, although it's something small and insignificant maybe in relation to other things, it does give a certain level of professionalism that I think that other frames might not bring. So it'll protect your electronics from any wet grass or anything when you're flying, and also make sure that you look professional no matter where you are. So I think it's really cool. And of course, when you're have the frame upside down or upright, whatever you want to call it, in racer mode, you have a sweet looking frame, tiny trainer-esque racer. And then you can flip it over and again have that very professional cinematic freestyle frame that will perform when you need it to. So let's move on to the next couple steps. We're almost done, but it's definitely starting to look like a drone frame, that's for sure. We're to step 10 out of 11, so we're almost done. This is probably one of my more favorite parts about the frame as far as just like being nifty and a cool design. So you're gonna see this little square thing that comes with your frame, and you're gonna wonder, like, how does this work? And you can kind of fold it and you're like, wow, I wonder what that does. Well, this is your camera mount, or I guess the TPU pieces that will make up your camera mount. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna cut it apart. You will see that there are there's a thin side and a thick side. What you're gonna do is turn it and you're gonna cut it down the middle to where there's a thick and a thin on each side. So I'm gonna take, I guess even just a razor blade or any sort of thing that you can cut this really easy TPU. So boom, boom, boom. Now you have a side that has a thick and a thin, and then again, another side that has a thick and a thin. Now, the cool part about this is what you can do is say you're using a nano cam. So what you would do is you would then just fold this in half, and that makes a bigger spacer so that you can put it in here and then have a nano cam. But say you're using just a micro cam, it says here, separate the TPU camera mount. If you're using a micro cam, only use the two thickest quadrants. So all you would do is just rip off this one. Maybe you're using the DJI micro cam, or maybe a really nice analog micro cam, or an HD0 micro cam. You would take off this thinner half and then just install the thicker half, and boom, you are now back and running. I think that's really cool. As far as just, any 3D printing nerd is gonna think that's really cool. As far as, it's just one print. If you wanna use nano cam, just fold it in half and boom, boom, you're ready to go with nano. But then you wanna do micro, okay, just take off that half, and now you're back to a perfectly mounted micro camera. So we're gonna separate. I'm going to use a micro camera, maybe HD0, maybe DJI. Not sure yet when I get this built, but I'm going to pull apart this thinner one because I'm going to be using a micro camera. Boom, boom. And now we're gonna move into the installation of these. You will see, and this is something I said we were gonna talk about earlier, but there's these rectangles here, and there's one on top, one on the bottom, and the same thing on the other side. So if you're gonna run it in freestyle mode like this, or cinematic mode, you're going to use these top camera mounts, because that would of course put it just about as close to your HD camera as possible and give you that exact same framing. But say you wanna put it in racer mode, you'll flip it over, and then you have these rectangles here on this side on the top. So then you would put them there. It's the exact same rectangle, it's the exact same idea when mounting. I'm gonna do mine in freestyle mode for the time being. So I'm gonna flip it over and use these top ones. As I said, we're going to be using a micro camera, and this part could be a little bit confusing to people, but you're going to see here that you have this square and you have this little line on the bottom, and it's much easier to see in this build diagram that I will put up here. But basically what you're going to do is I'm going to show you to the camera, and then I'm going to show you me putting it in. So I'm going to pull, it's going to look just like this, pull it all the way out, and you're going to get the, I guess, thinner side, so it just kind of like flares out, and that's going to be on the inside. But you're going to take this side, and you're gonna pull it in like so. And then you might have to play with it because it is a really tight fit, but eventually you're going to be able to press this TPU insert in all the way. And I'm gonna keep here working on it. There you go, fully installed, boom. And then now, as you can see, I'm gonna show you once again, if you're not looking at the build diagram, but you're gonna have the screw in that top left, and then if you have that screw in that top left, then that should pretty much have it mounted correctly for you. So you want it to look like this. We're going to then do the same thing to the other side. I'm going to get the mount that looks like this. So let me show you here. So it looks like this. We're doing it on the left side here. Gonna stick it in here. Pressed in like so. And then now, after you get it pressed in, it should look something like this. There we go. Nice. Should look something like this in there. And now you have both camera mounts fully mounted, and then you should be able to screw in your micro cam, no problem, with adjustable camera tilt to match your adjustable HD camera tilt that I will show you here in a second. But let's go on to the final step. You've made it to the final step. Now it's time to install our hero mount or our HD camera mount. It should be pretty simple. All it is really just 4 screws. But you will get your HD camera mount with the frame when you order it. Of course, if you choose to. There's going to be a session mount for your hero session. There's going to be a couch mount or a hero mount for all of your hero. Okay, sorry. You've now made it to the final step. We're going to install our HD camera mount. It's really simple, really. You're going to pick from, when you order, of course, your favorite HD camera mounting method that we will provide, whether that's a session mount, a hero mount, which is what you see here. That would mount your hero, I mean, like the 7, 8, 9, 10, of course, just with a battery strap. And then you have your prong mount. The prong mount would be used for some of those newer GoPros that have the flip down prongs. You can then use a screw to screw those in and secure the GoPro in that way. It's not the sturdiest thing in the world, but very common and used for a lot of filming gigs, just because you can do some crazy camera tilts where that's negative or really high. But we do have this adjustable camera tilt on here already, so if you want a super sturdy way to mount your GoPro but also have adjustable tilt, this will be a nifty way to do that. So you will take the 2 standoffs you had left over and press them in to the mount like I did here already. I personally, you can push them in with your thumb. I mean, that kind of hurts. So you can call me a baby, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry. But we can use that exact same mounting method where we screw in a screw all the way to the standoff and then just twist it in really easy. Make sure it's flush on both sides, and then it's time to install. So you're going to get your frame, oops, drop this, your frame like this. You're going to get your couch mount or your hero mount like this. You see it looks kind of like an L. We're going to put the back of the L here in the back, and then it should be a pretty tight fit. But you'll pretty much just align these 4 screws. So you're going to have these 2 front ones that'll be locked, and then you have this kind of sliding system that I'll show you here in a second of how you can adjust the camera tilt. So the screws you're going to use, you should have 2 of these 6mm button head screws left. You're going to put those in the top or the front mounting screw like so, 1 and then 2 on the other side. And then I told you had those motor screws that are that 8mm button head screws, which we had a bunch of. We're going to take 2 of those. You will have enough for motor screws, I promise. You're going to take 2 of those 8mm ones, and then you also should have these sweet little blue washers. And we're going to use that. Those washers, of course, distributes the load, making it harder to slide anywhere, changing the tilt at all. So we're going to get these blue washers like I was saying, open those up, and then all you're going to do is get your button head screw, drop it through the washer. I'll show you what it looks like here. So it kind of countersinks, that's definitely not a word, but into this little washer. You're then going to install it here on the back like this. And you will do the same for the other side. But we're going to install this not fully tight yet because we're going to pick our tilt, of course. And voila. Get the other one here like so. Again, making it look countersunk. There's an English argument there to have. If you know the way to use countersunk in a sentence, then please let me know. But again, we're going to loosely tighten this one. And then you have your camera tilt here. I believe the lowest camera tilt is 10 degrees and the highest camera tilt is 40 degrees. So you will, of course, these screws are loose here, but you'll pick your tilt. I'm kind of a in the middle kind of guy. Maybe that's 25, 20 degrees. Get it locked in there. And then you're just going to tighten this one and then tighten the other side. And boom, you now have a fully built footy frame. This is in the freestyle configuration. If you were going to do it in the racer configuration, of course, you wouldn't have this GoPro mount on here, but literally the only thing you would change is you would take these camera mounts out, flip the frame over, and just reinstall them right here to where you have a super durable racing frame. And I think that's kind of interesting because we're we have all these racing frames that are meant for hardcore racers, but some people just kind of want to maybe fly around some trees at high speeds or get that racer look and maybe not race competitively, or maybe competitive racers want to train without breaking a bunch of gear. And I think this is the perfect option for that. It protects your electronics very well. It looks cool. It's going to give you that confidence when you're going around a track that you're not going to necessarily break as much stuff. And it'll be a great way for you to train for 5-inch races. And then, say you practice with this thing, and then you go to a race and you switch to your more high-performance, lighter quads like the Switchback or the Switchback Zero. But as far as a training tool, this, as well as a tiny trainer, will be two amazing options for anyone either getting into racing or maybe people who just want to have fun and maybe race around some trees. But that is the racer configuration. And then again, when you're ready to go film on set or freestyle with your buddies, you can flip it back over, put your GoPro mount on, and voila, now you have a central battery mount, freestyle frame with some of the cleanest black box logs anyone has ever seen, and just super exciting for myself and 533. Maybe I'll start getting into freestyle. I tried, I'll be honest, you might have seen some of the footage in the beginning of this video. I'm not good at it yet, but I want to get good at it. So I'll work on it, and maybe you guys can give me some tips. But thank you for watching. I hope this wasn't too long, but I would rather it be too detailed than not enough. And please let us know. We'd love to see your footage of any of these, whether that's racing or freestyle, that you get with the Footy. We're excited to bring something that is meant for filming to our line of products. And yeah, this will pair perfectly with the R38 and the heads-up motors that we offer. Maybe keep an eye out for some new motors coming out. Maybe collaborating with some popular YouTubers and stuff like that in the FPV world. So I think there's some really exciting things coming with 533. Keep an eye out. But if you want to jump on the train early, the Footy's out and available right now, and to get at fly533.com. Another note, we have this merch available now. It's probably hard to see, but this is kind of like our stealth hoodie. So it's a black hoodie with a black logo, which keeps it like, I kind of like the stealthy look. We do have these in t-shirts and tank tops and just about everything. So keep an eye out for more apparel in the future, but I've already rambled on too long. I hope you guys enjoy. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment. Reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram. Also, of course, take a look at the build guide that I will have linked below. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have a great day. Get some cool footy. And thank you guys again for your support always of 533. We hope to keep you guys in the air for as long as possible. Have a great one, and I'll see you later.